Hey guys, so this is not an actual match. This is just kind of doing a little bit of unit testing. It is a unit testing with some with a buddy as well. And this is just a build order. So this is just kind of we're just kind of testing out and seeing some things in terms of the Keshik and kind of how we're gonna try out our new build with the Keshik since they're a little bit more expensive unit. It's gonna take a little bit of a different style in the beginning. So I'm trying kind of a super kind of min-max build. So I immediately take my 6 villagers and chop a straggler tree close to wherever I'm dropping my TC. Make sure I send my TC first off immediately. After one turn in of wood there, they collect food, and one villager before he gets to the tree, I send him off to the Uvu. And I'm sending my Scon scouting around, etc. From here, the one that goes on the Uvu is on the gold, and it's just our standard age up, fast age up 9-2 from here. One difference is we have this additional 50 wood, and we're a little bit behind on our food count. So I'm still kind of playing around. I haven't decided on a build order yet 100%. Which one is better? I think situationally, sometimes we'll go 9-2, sometimes we go 10-2. But yeah, it's definitely different with the Keshik. The amount, just a little bit more resources that you need is it's tough to get a good timing to get the stable at the same time, and it's similar to the timing you can get with your Mangudai, basically. So we're just dropping off sheep. We're still scouting, just kind of doing things like we kind of would in a normal game. And we'll change this. There we go. So we're up to 8 on food, 2 on gold. Food's at 160, and 2 villagers in queue. Kong is just running around. We're just kind of fucking around over there at this point because we got enough resources here to basically play out our opening. um, 9 on food, and sending now our 11th, 12th villager onto wood. This is just a 9-2, and we'll kind of see the timings on this. In some games, I think it's going to be good. In some games, it'll be better to go 10-2, and I'm still kind of getting a feel for it. So, one villager dropping on this tree, so he's not spending any time chopping down the tree, he's just directly into harvesting, which is going to be nice. Again, another villager's come through, and here you can see the timing on the 9-2. Let me pause this real quick. Oh, didn't pause. So we're at 200 gold, and we had to drop another villager, but we have enough resources here to age up, and we're a little bit messed up there. We're dropping this here, and a little bit of a mess up because we had some idle time there, but overall we're okay. Our resources are pretty low. Wood is getting up for a stable, and we're going up to 3 villagers on wood. We'll go up to a 4th villager on wood. And we're tapping up with 4 villagers, going Silver Tree. Silver Tree is probably going to be... it's going to be nice for your cheaper traders. Getting trade behind your Keshik and Mangudai pressure is going to be actually pretty nice, but it's not kind of like something that you have to do. So after your 4th villager is on here, we can tell that our resources are going to get close. So we're going to, instead of sending a 5th villager over to Uvu or anything like that, we're going to grab one of these woodvilles. He's headed over. He's going to drop the stable. Stable's going up while we're aging up. And now we have 3 on wood, and all new villagers are on to food. And so big thing is you need, for Keshik constant production, same with Mangudai constant production, you need 7 on food. For Mangudai, it's 3 on gold, 6 for Keshiks on gold. So you need 10 villagers for productions of Mangudais. You need 13 villagers for production of Keshiks nonstop. Apart from your 4 that you always need for your villager production. So we've got the stable up. You can see our foods are spread here, but we've got enough food, we've got enough gold, and we have enough stone. So we get the double production on the Keshiks immediately. That's kind of what we want. We're doing it around 420. I've done the same build order, and sometimes it's coming at around 430, 435, 440. It kind of depends a little bit on your layout, on your spawn. 2 of the villagers that we're building, I send them over to gold, and then 2 of the villagers we're sending over to food. And we still got 4 on wood here. So here's kind of the big thing, because right now we have 18 villagers. If we wanted to, we could be 100% full Keshik production right now. If we pull these villagers off of wood, you could commit to 100% Keshik production. But then your infrastructure is going to ramp up real slow. And that's kind of worrying, kind of scary, because you're basically just relying on knights. And if they do go spearmen, I mean, this is AI, so it doesn't matter. But I mean, if they do go spearmen, you might be in a really bad situation. Keshiks do okay, but they're not going to beat a group of spearmen. I mean, it's just like French knights or Rus knights. Like you'll beat one on one, but you're not. It's not favorable trades. You're taking a lot of extra damage. So, and this is kind of where in the build order, I'm not entirely sure what we're gonna do next, or if this is the proper build order. Um, because resources wise, we have enough for a Keshik or maybe even another. I found and when I was playing too, I found that I felt like not having good vision with your Keshik party could lead to some bad situations. So I think after we'll put it on play, but I think from here we drop another Keshik. But I think the play might actually be to build a scout. So we're pulling this our fourth villager that was on wood. He's dropping the range right when we get 150 wood. We're gonna pause it again, and we can kind of see the spread here. Another villagers in queue. So we haven't lost villager production in terms of our queue times, which is nice. We had two Keshiks heading over. Um, and this is the thing. If we drop a Keshik now, we've got 138 food, 110 gold. So we can 100% drop a Keshik now. Something else we could do is go for an upgrade. The issue is we can get double broad axe, but we don't have a lot of villagers on wood to really make it worthwhile. And maybe it's a good call because those four villagers on wood become five. I don't know. Maybe it's a good call to actually do it, but that's kind of here in the build order where we're a little bit kind of in a weird spot. And I think I end up building another Keshik. But I think if I hadn't built a Keshik, if we had built, you have the resources to drop a Keshik immediately, and this is the big thing. Once the archery range is up, so you'd have two Keshiks out, you could have a third Keshik out, but you want to be able to build Mangudai pretty soon because Mangudai are kind of are pretty important in terms of being able to stop your spearmen and second TCs and all that type of stuff. The archery range is up, and then if you look at resources, pretty much you're always going to be able to drop this. You can be able to drop these Mangudai out pretty much the same timing that you can here. And that's kind of where we're at in the build. About 5 minutes in, and we'll have four on wood, so we're going to be able to drop a little bit of infrastructure here and there. We've got enough for a trader here. Getting extra traders going isn't a bad idea, considering that you need really at least 6 villagers on it to be producing Keshiks constantly. Keshiks out, Mangudai is produced, and then you can see where we're at in terms of food and gold. So we're floating a little bit heavy, so I wonder if survival techniques might be a good transition here, because this is another thing too. We've got 13 villagers on food already, 5.5 minutes in, and these sheep are getting chewed up. They're going to get chewed up pretty quick, and we're going for map pressure, so I wonder if survival techniques isn't a bad upgrade to get at this point. So that's kind of like the beginning of this build, and we're still trying to figure out exactly what we're going to do from here. But I think the idea would be to get 2 control groups, with Mangudai accompanying Keshiks, so you can kind of deal with spearmen and things like that. It's gonna be super micro intensive either way. So we're done with this replay. Just so you guys get a little bit of a feel for a build order. We're still trying to figure it out. And then we did. Me and my buddy did some unit testing. We did it against Rus because Rus Feudal Knights is pretty strong, and then I think I have to confirm this, but Rus Knights are stronger than French Knights. French Knights have more life, but Rus Knights are stronger. So this we can speed it up. I couldn't get my instant everything mod to work, so it was a little bit weird. It wouldn't work for us, unfortunately. So we're just tapping up, and we're gonna do some unit tests here. with the Keshiks and kind of see how they fare against the Rus Feudal Knight. So he's just building up. We're just building a bunch of stuff. It's just to get this stuff going. We're getting our upgrade. Okay, so there's our first fight. 1v1 Keshik against Rus Early Knight. Early Knight surviving with 50 health. So Knight wins, but it's not like he's surviving with 25% of his health, and we cost 20% less. So we're almost on par with each other here. So that's kind of what we were seeing. So now we're gonna get. Let's speed this up a little bit. Okay, we've got 6 knights. I think we're gonna charge this here. 6 knights, and we got against 5 Rus Knights. Yeah, 5 Rus Knights. So this is equal value. Is what this is here. Yeah, this is definitely equal value. I'm pretty sure. Maybe we're doing the math wrong, but I'll double check right now. Because we're just doing it in our heads. We didn't take the calculator out or anything. Because each one of mine, let's pause this. Each one of my knights costs 200 resources. Okay, and each one of his costs 240. Yeah, so this is an equal resource fight. I'm going to charge at each other. This is 100% equal resources. One thing is one of our Keshiks doesn't get a good charge in. We didn't have line, and this is without any 0 micro in this fight. Which is it is pretty important to, especially in these smaller skirmishes with small amounts of units, try to micro these fights. So we'll just speed this up. So 2 knights survive, no problem. So again, that's not looking good for the Keshiks here. In terms of equal cost. So what we're going to do is we up this to 7 knights. So a little bit more expensive on our part, and we're going to go against 5. And just so you guys see, and this without any micro, how these small number things kind of are important to have when you're fighting your opponent. When you see units, how many he's got, how many you got to bring to the fight. This without any micro. It goes from 2 knights surviving to three Keshiks, and basically 4 Keshiks survive, but 1 is in super low health, and that's without any micro. So there's a huge difference there in terms of units. That if you have a little bit more, you're coming out way ahead in your fights. So it's always important to come into your camp fights with a little bit extra. Kind of messed this up. We'll have to delete those units, pull new ones out. So what we're gonna do here? Dragon turtle. Oh, is this the thing? I haven't seen it. I haven't gotten it yet. So this is the dragon turtle. Dang it, I should have been a dock and got that achievement over with. Anyways. So this is 6 versus 5. So again, this is that equal cost, but I'm going to micro this one this time. I believe. We'll see if we pull out. So we're late on the micro on that one. We pull this guy out. A little bit sloppy micro, a little bit too long of turnaround there. A little bit sloppy micro here, and sloppy micro there. So I think we're gonna end up redoing this because I did some bad micro. So he survives with like basically 2 knights in terms of health. Yeah, so we're gonna redo this micro because it wasn't the best micro we could have done. So we're gonna do it again. A little bit better. There we go. That's better. Like you want to put him out right before he dies. Sometimes, and see that guy. If you pulled him out, that would have been big. But we didn't get that. We didn't get this guy out. We're not gonna get this guy out. So again, not the cleanest micro. I think we're gonna do it again. He's gonna build a wall just to see things out. So he survives with more because of our a little bit of bad micro, a little bit just a bad micro right there. Basically, is all it was. 7. Again, we have no upgrades. These are just raw feudal. And we messed up here, so we're gonna redo that. They aggroed on the villager. Let's go 5. And this is 7 with micro. Six knights survive. So if you micro your Keshik 7 on 6 there, you can have 6 Keshik survive. If you could probably have 7 survive if you have even better micro. Let's see, we're reducing our numbers. Let's see, 4 on 2. Again, we're gonna try to micro this, or we're just gonna straight up do it. No, we're gonna try to micro it. Here's a nice snipe by that Rus Knight to catch us there. But we resoundingly win the 4 on 2. It's not even. You could definitely do with surviving with all 4 Keshiks. And that's the other thing too, you know, if you survive one here, you just leave him here healing up. And while you go do other things. So this is the 3 on 2. This is a feudal fight, pre-upgrade. So this is highly possible a fight that you are taking, especially with our build order that we went over earlier. You could have 3 Keshiks together. A little bit of micro, pull him out. We should have pulled this guy out earlier, so that's a little bit of a mistake, and we knew that. So this again, but 3 on 2 with a little bit of micro, a little bit of mistake, and you're surviving with 3 Keshiks. So that's a really good trade. We're gonna do it again, I'm sure. Speed up again. Okay. Okay. Gonna try to get a little bit of micro in here again. Go, pull this Keshik back, he's out and about. I'll see if your opponent micros as well. It can affect this battle. But 3 versus 2, you can survive with all 3 Keshiks. So again, those are early battles in feudal that all of a sudden the realm of possibility opens up a whole bunch because now it's actually they're microable. It's possible to micro and win these. We catch the charge there, so we're just gonna kill, and we do. Okay, here we go. It's really hard to get your Keshiks to hit on the same guy and the 2v2, but when they do, it's good. So that's what happened there. We had him hit the same guy. And unfortunately, this guy was catching double hits from his knights, so it's a tough micro, but 2v2 you're not with no upgrades. It's a really tough micro. It's not easy. Okay, here we go again, 2v2. Again, we were able to get both charges onto one knight, and that's the big thing. Okay, and so 2v2, you can take out one, and at the end of this test is basically what we confirm is you can take out one knight, but you're not going to be able to take out both knights. You can get him down to really, the low health, but you're not going to be able to beat 2v2 without any upgrades. So one big thing is you would be able to take out one knight and leave. You can definitely take out one knight in a 2v2 and leave, which would be, again, that's better than nothing. That's actually, that'd be a decent trade, especially since you can heal on other things. You got 2v2 and then peel off somewhere else, go burn a wall or something that's out and about. And if he has it, if he doesn't, you just try to keep those knights alive for later engagements. The big thing is you have that possibility with these Keshiks to do that. So, especially later on, I think Kurultai is going to be kind of a standard thing to go for. Over here, we're getting +1 fitted leatherwork upgrade, and there was a little bit of a mistake by on part of our buddy here, Nani Yori, in terms of getting his upgrades because he didn't get some of his upgrades when we expected him to. But it's again not a big deal. So we were doing a 18 versus 15 fight. Again, this is equal resources. Microing in this is really difficult. I'm trying to micro a little bit where I can, but it's not easy. It's hard to click the unit you want to click. You're like right on him and you're trying to click it and it grabs a different unit, so kind of tough. Right here at this point, the fitted leatherwork comes in, and unfortunately it came in during the fight, so it probably affected the fight a little bit, but on equal numbers with more units, Keshiks are beating. On equal resources, when it's bigger amount of units, Keshiks are winning. And what comes in play there is there's just more healing going on. More basically healing going on, units being able to pull out fights and switch out. So the more rotation you have on the units, the better. We are going to try the 2v2 now that we have the +1 because, again, if you get a little bit ahead, you're a little bit ahead with gold, resources, or whatever, then you can you'll be able to pull ahead. Again, mistake there, so we fight it out, but as a mistake. And here they're fighting. Again, we kind of messed up because our charge went into this other knight and didn't just focus one knight. But we have +1 melee defense, so it's definitely going to help out a little bit. But it's not going to be enough to like fully trade it out. We don't completely change the aggro there, and he actually survives with more life than a 2v2 without um, insulated helm because of just that little micro engagement. Just being able to hit 2 knights on the first charge is really big. That's another thing too. When it is a small unit situation, try to focus on one unit. Try to get your charge in on one guy. Again, we split the charge again. Didn't work out. Sometimes the knights do that, so it's a little bit unfortunate. But you can see when you're doubled up, it's definitely favorable, and that's what you want. Again, you're always gonna trade out that one knight, and you're gonna kill it before they kill you if you can microwave properly. But this time with the +1, with a little bit better micro, we can see we got him down to 38, so a little bit better situation. So we're getting the upgrade. We're bringing 12 knights, and he's bringing 10. So this is just hopefully before the +1/+1. This is kind of against equal resources, but we have +1 armor, and we just kind of want to see how this traded out. Again, armor upgrade hasn't come through yet, so it hasn't affected the fight yet, thankfully. Minimal micro going on. I pulled this knight out instead of helping, which is kind of a bad move. But basically, you win again. So if you're up a little bit in terms of armor upgrade, you get that. If you got the pluses, the +1 armor. Yeah, the +1 attack wasn't present at that time. But if you have that slight armor upgrade or the defense edge, it makes these fights a lot more winnable for your cheaper unit on equal numbers and not equal resources. On equal resources, you're winning. It looks like basically on everything above six versus 5, which is good. He's just clearing out trees because in a couple of fights there we were switched up. Here we kind of messed up our micro. We charged the same guy. We didn't charge the same guy. And we're just trying to micro this as best as we can. He wins with 52 health. That's with both upgrades. So I think we might run that again. He's clearing out some trees. Oh yeah, he's clearing out these trees. We'll just wait for these villagers. There you go. And here we go. 2v2. Again, the Chargers, they wanted to split. They didn't want to focus the same guy. And it's tough to get it to do it sometimes. But one big thing is, you can see that you're consistently killing in this 2v2. You can consistently kill the knight if you have good micro. If your opponent doesn't micro, your micro. And then over here, we see now that we actually won this fight, 2v2. He's getting his upgrade bonus. So this is a big thing. They're winnable fights once you have the upgrades and they don't in feudal. So little details that sometimes people won't know, or they won't think of getting in feudal because they're all in and they're doing other stuff. Sometimes guys don't get these upgrades, the melee upgrades. Sometimes they get the archer upgrades first. It's another thing. If you've got Mangudai out, you might be going for those first. So here we'll just speed up. We're going to test out the Castle Age stuff. Basically, just to kind of summarize what's going to happen. If you're fighting under Kurultai, your Keshiks are as good as any Rus Knight, basically. The difference is minimal for the cost difference. This is early Knight versus veteran Keshik. So this would be on a timing push. If you can catch him in a timing fight and he's fighting you with age 2s, you win handily in age 1 without the Kurultai. You survive with 50 HP. So it huge flip of the script once you're aged up and you're fighting his knights. age 2. So it's 100%. You're still a better. You're a better unit once he's once you're age 3. So if you can catch him in a timing type of a situation, you can take that fight. Now you know that you can win it. Obviously, in reverse, you're not winning it. Now with the curl tie up, we wanted to test a 1v2 just to see what would happen if we could even kill one. Yeah, so you can't kill one in a 2v with the curl type up. Um, so we're just clearing out some trees just to make this testing ground a little bit nicer. Just makes micro a little bit more manageable. Sometimes you bump into the trees, the game's a little buggy. Okay, so this is 1v1, and he's now a Castle Age Knight. He's a knight, and this is 1v1 with the curl type bonus. We're supposed to have the same defense upgrades, and he actually messed up. He got the +2 Damascus Steel, but he did not get the +2 Leatherwork, which is pretty big. Oh, and he beats us bad. You see that the amount of life that he has left. That's for the price differences on these units. That's not actually enough to warrant the difference. You're actually coming out ahead on equal resources with that small of a difference under Kurultai, which is also important that you guys remember that this is all happening under Kurultai right now. Under Kurultai, if you can take fights against knights, opponent knights, because outside of Kurultai, you're just not winning on equal numbers. But under Kurultai, it looks like you are winning with equal numbers. It's manageable with micro is the big deal. Again, it's a 1v1, and this time we won. The Red and Keshik won this time. Another thing is though he doesn't have his +2 fitted leatherwork, so that was another little detail. If he doesn't have the armor upgrades, you can win under Kurultai. Let's speed this up. And we're just gonna go up to Castle to Imp Age, and he's getting his Boyar. And that's the other thing. He didn't have Boyar's Fortitude. He didn't have any of that. If he has Boyar's Fortitude, he wins these fights. That's another thing. If you're taking these early castle fights, it's winnable with the knights on equal numbers. Without it, you're always gonna need some extra numbers. Here, the knight wins against veteran Keshiks with Boyars, and he survived. And that's with Boyars. He had 15 HP. So again, even with Boyars, like the difference isn't huge. The Kurultai helps a whole bunch in equalizing these fights. Now we're getting elite Keshiks, and these are knights with Boyar's Fortitude, Castle Age Knights. He's up to Imp, so we're gonna get the upgrades, but we're gonna see again the timing. If you can catch your opponent, you hit Imp first, you get your upgrades before he does, and you're able to take a favorable fight under Kurultai. This is the difference of the tech up that you're getting. Knight surviving with 72, Keshik surviving with 72 HP, which again, there's a really big difference. And that's without our Step Lancers upgrade. Okay, so it's the little details, but they're really important in terms of the implications. If you're going since we go in all cap strat, it's really important to know when to take certain fights and when not to take certain fights. There's definitely a bunch more testing that still has to be done, like how many Mangudai shots does a Mangudai have to hit on, say, an early night to make it so your Keshik can win 1v1. These are little details, but they're definitely important. And I'll probably do a later testing some other time. He's now an elite knight, and we are an elite Keshik, and we have not gotten Step Lancers yet. And he survives with 11 HP. Okay, this is an elite knight, Boyar's Fortitude. He doesn't have all of his upgrades. He doesn't have his pole axes. And he doesn't have his steel arrow. His university is somewhere, I'm sure. Anywho, he doesn't have that. His knights aren't 100% fully decked out. And neither are ours. We're just kind of flat. Keshiks at this point. And now he's getting his fitted leather work because he didn't get that earlier. We'll have to speed this up. Because he just realized, oh, I got the arrow defense up here. I didn't get melee defense. So again, that definitely affects the results. And you know, those little battles where we survived by a little bit, we end up actually losing. But again, they're all within about one hit. So the difference is there, but it's not like end of the world. So he's got his armor, and now he's got his +2/+2. We got +2, but we're under Kurultai, and we also have our Step Lancers ability, I believe. Yes, we have Step Lancers. Just base Step Lancers. It's not improved Step Lancers. And you can see, like again, he doesn't have his pole axes, but he's surviving with 33 life. Under Kurultai. Survives with 33 life. So now we're going to try it without the Kurultai. Because in it, there's going to be a lot of fights without the Kurultai. And now he's got pole axes now too, huh? Yeah, he's got pole axes. So he's basically fully decked out. We didn't get our +3 upgrades. Because they basically cancel each other out. And it just takes more time. Obviously, if one person has +3s, you know, it's an overall +1 advantage. But again, it's at this stage, it doesn't affect too much. But that's again, it's just thoroughness of tests, and it can be run, but I need more time really. But we're getting a good idea. The results are going to be pretty similar. So now we've got improved Step Lancers. And we got our +2s, and he's got his +2s. He's got his Elite Knight, and the difference is actually really surprising. I thought the Step Lancer improved would be a huge difference in terms of what happens here. And against the Rus Knight, which is the strongest knight, it actually isn't. Against the French Knight, it might actually come into play more. But against the Rus Knight, 108. So again, the difference is really big. It still survives with a third of its life, and it's 20% more expensive. So it's actually a winning trade for the knight. Now 1v1 under a Kurultai though. Difference is definitely a little bit more noticeable. Again, there's no con arrows, nothing like that, so that definitely helps a bit. For small fights, it can help. And he's down to 33. So the difference is, instead of having 30% more life, now he's only got 30% of his remaining life. He's got like 10% of his remaining life, which now all of a sudden you become a better, more cost-effective unit. So the Kurultai is going to be really big if you're going for Keshiks, I think, and you're going against a civ like Rus or France. The Keshik is going to be really big in combination with the Kurultai, because it's going to make your units, the cost effectiveness is that much more. So he's getting biology, and we are getting improved biology. So now this is like hyper late game kind of scenario, where we're both gonna have our cavalry mechs pretty much decked out to the max. We didn't get +3s because they're just gonna cancel each other out. No real sense in that. There's plenty of attacks. 273 against 360 life. Unfortunately, my con gets an arrow in there, so we're gonna have to rerun this test. The con arrow is actually pretty significant. Actually, that con arrow wins the Keshik this fight. That is under Kurultai, and it's really surprising that the improved step isn't a big difference in terms of knights. Against other units, it probably comes more into play, but against knights, it's really not. Again, so this is just a straight clean 2v2, and he survives with 1 HP. So again, this is really big. In terms of like excuse me, cost effectiveness, that your knights can actually go on par with and we drop our bonus here to give him extra armor for a couple seconds to see if that can make Keshik win this fight without Kurultai. Sometimes you'll be out in the field, drop that air bonus, and it helps him survive a couple more hits. but that's about it. So it's only about 2 hits that you save per Keshik with the regular upgrade. With improved con arrow, now where the whistling arrow is lasting 12 seconds. By 2 plus 2 for 5 seconds. For 5 seconds, but we got the improved, so it's actually a lot more. It's like 12 seconds or something. I want to say it's 12 seconds now, because it's 5 plus 5 plus 2. I'm pretty sure it's a 12-second thing now. Yeah, he still got it. And he almost. Let's see if he gets it. Yeah, he holds it for almost the entirety of the fight. And again, it's one more hit basically. So he survives one more. He's able to get another hit in. So again, little difference, not end of the world difference here. We drop the curl tie. We're gonna try to do this fight without the curl tie. This is equal numbers, equal cost, no curl tie. And we're gonna try to micro it a little bit. We do get some decent micro. So this is pretty important. So 1v1, you can't win it. But because of the Keshik's ability, and there's more units, you have an extra unit, so there's always can be one, technically with perfect micro, you always have one unit that can be free and not getting damaged. You can survive on equal cost, you can survive with 3 Keshiks. And maybe another one if you have even better micro. So that's pretty big. That changes quite. That's half your investment saved basically. I mean they're weak, but technically you should have a curl tie, so or something to raid. So that's a really big detail that on equal cost, fully decked out an imp, your knights can win on equal cost with nothing else besides micro. Which again, important little details. Obviously now this is a bigger fight. Now we have 24 Keshiks. I think we burn this down to get this out of the way. We go into line formation. That's another thing too. We're going against 20 knights here. And one thing is the time for these guys to wrap around is important. And we're trying to micro a little bit, but it's very difficult to get the micro in and everywhere that you need to at the same time. We've only pulled 3 knights out during our micro. There's a 4th. So we've only pulled 4 Keshiks out during this. And I guarantee you there's more than four opportunities to micro here. So even though on bigger numbers where technically we should have done even better, you can see that the knights have come out ahead, 6. So they've come out quite significantly ahead on equal costs. But why? Because our level of micro for that amount of units is actually less than it was on a small thing. So on these bigger equal value costs at late game, unless you have really good micro, equal cost fights, you're not going to be winning. Okay, we try it again. And we wanted to try it. Oh, we tried it with our armor upgrade. Okay, they still got it. And you see that this upgrade, the defensive, will last a really long time during this fight. So it wasn't the whole fight, but it lasted a really long time. Again, micro during this fight was actually less than when we played on the other one. There's a little bit of micro here, trying to survive this knight. And again, there's probably more micro that could have been possible here, but instead of surviving with 6 knights, he survives with 4, but one of those is almost dead. So, on the field, just straight fights, equal cost. Like it looks like you're gonna trade. You're not trading favorably, but with the con arrow, it definitely helps out a bit. And the big thing is micro. If you can do really good micro, you'll be okay. You will trade on equal cost on the smaller scale, 6 versus 5 with really good. That's perfect micro on that scale. Basically, you can win with 3 to 4 Keshik surviving. But on these bigger scales, it becomes really difficult. We try to do this test. Unfortunately, he charges into our curl tie, so he loses a lot of charge bonus. And because of the curl tie buff, and because he lost a lot of charge bonus into a curl tie, we survived with 12 curl tie Keshiks. So it looks really good, but we're gonna rerun this because we got a charge into the curl tie, which isn't good. And Khan is out here killing the board. Khan super strong in imp, so best time to take out your boy as an imp with your Khan, just because he's so strong. If a boar ever makes it to him, which they never do, so. Okay, so here we're gonna do 20 knights, 24 keshiks. It's a lot better charge for him. He had a really nice charge here. We lost like 3 or 4 of our charges actually this fight. And at the very end of this, our keshiks aren't actually buffed up by the Kurotai. It's a big deal. No micros going on. This is just a straight up fight on the Kurotai. Again, with these big army fights, you're usually microing your archers, you're microing your. You're almost not microing these units. If there's time, you can. But you see the fight where all of a sudden, okay, the knights were winning with 6. Now the Keshiks are surviving with 6 without any micro. So at equal cost, you become super cost effective because you shouldn't be surviving with this many on equal cost because they're weaker units. So that's kind of like one of the big takeaways is with the Kurotai, you can match pretty much any unit, any knight. Without the Kurotai, it's going to require a lot of micro, and even then, there is a limit to the fights. 6 versus 5 against Rus Knights is kind of your equal cost, and it's kind of the limit of how you can win these fights. 5 versus 4 or 5 versus 5, you might be able to. It's just tough. It's just a lot of micro. It's really tough. I don't think there's enough health pool to do it. Okay, so this is 1v1. Um, fully decked out knight, fully decked out Keshik under the curl tie. And Keshik wins under curl tie. So the best knight in the game, the Rus Knight, actually loses to the Keshik in super late game with curl tie. Without curl tie, it doesn't. Without curl tie, the Keshik doesn't win. But with curl tie, all of a sudden your Keshik is the best knight in the game. So again, interesting little detail. I think we ended the tests on there. Okay, we might do another test here. What is this? 20 on 20. Okay, so this is equal numbers. Equal numbers. Just because we just won that 1v1, I wanted to try equal numbers now. And he gets a really nice wrap to the north. And it looks like he's going to come out ahead on this fight. We might run this back. And that comes down, and to the charges and stuff, it comes down to a lot of the wraparounds and how many units are hitting one guy. If you get a couple of double teams here and there, where my guys are fighting the double teams, they definitely pull ahead. But you can see that the Rus, all of a sudden with numbers under the curl tie on same things, it's not, you actually lose it. So again, on those situations, it's a little bit more luck of the draw in terms of 2v1s that are happening on the line. And it's a lot more difficult to control that. But it's interesting that in 1v1, Keshik actually does come out ahead. So it's possible, but it's all about the micro involved. So Keshiks are strong, but it's definitely going to be a little bit micro intensive. And in early games, I think there's a good chance of um, doing some interesting stuff with the Keshik and Mangudai combo. So it's been kind of a long one, but it's just kind of like a little introductory thing. I'm still kind of going to work out a build order that I'm going to kind of test out on a few and see how I like it. So thanks for watching, you guys. If there's any comments or tips or anything like that, just let me know, and I'll see you on the next one.